we've got so much not in common that they'll require a very exhaustive comparison when we have the time. For now, we're going to do it on the quick. I'm Michael Fisher with Pocket Now, and this is a hands-on comparison: LG G4 versus Samsung Galaxy S6. You'll notice we're using the Edge variant of the Galaxy S6, and that's for no other reason than that's the version we happen to have on us. On the other side, we've got the all-new LG G4 in both plastic and leather trims, and no matter which of these you look at, S6 or Edge, G4 Space Age, or G4 Cowhide, they almost couldn't be more different. The S6 is slick and smooth and glass and metal, which makes it feel expensive, but also makes it irresistible to fingerprints. The G4 is plastic in one build, ceramic-coated plastic in another, and of course, leather. And I mention it for the third time in a minute, only to emphasize that which one you buy will majorly impact the feel in hand. My early sense is that the Samsung phone feels more high-end than some of the G4 trims, but I'd argue that the full-grain leather version, while very different, feels equally high-end. Plus, it doesn't smudge, and you're less likely to drop it, once you get used to its rear-mounted volume and power keys, that is. When it comes to the Edge here, each is special in its own way, and I don't mean that in the condescending way. Instead of an Edge screen with special features, the G4 settles for a very subtle curve to the cover glass over its 5.5-inch Quantum IPS display, larger than Samsung's 5.1-inch AMOLED, and I'm sure very different in terms of color reproduction and brightness. They're similar in pixel density though. Technically, Samsung edges LG out, 577 to 538, but if you can spot that difference, I'll eat my hat. Samsung bragged its face off about the camera in the Galaxy S6, and for good reason. We ended up calling the 16-megapixel f1.9 shooter one of the best smartphone cameras ever when we reviewed it earlier this month. LG wants a piece of that too, cranking the aperture size open even further to 1.8 and building in something it called OIS 2.0 for 3-axis stabilization. Also, the front-facing camera on the new G4 has gotten a boost to 8 megapixels, besting Samsung's 5. How they perform in the real world remains to be seen, but it's interesting to see LG introducing new features like manual controls and RAW support, while Samsung has focused on streamlining this time around. Two very different hearts beat at the center of these phones. Samsung relies on its own home-cooked Exynos 7420, while LG makes use of the Snapdragon 808. How those processors fare in daily usage remains to be seen, but the accessories supporting them are starkly opposed. While Samsung opted to ditch the venerable removable battery and expandable memory slot this time around, LG stayed the course and included both a larger replaceable battery and microSD compatibility on the G4, though it didn't opt to include wireless charging, as Samsung did. To induction recharge the G4, you need a special case. Finally, in software, the picture is inverted somewhat. Here, Samsung is the one that flipped the script, taming its formerly overgrown TouchWiz user interface in an effort to simplify, while LG only seems to have made a few cosmetic changes to its heavy LG UI. What this means for usability remains to be seen, but as heavy interfaces don't seem to age very well, this decision to change little does make the LG seem a little bit behind on the software front. We left a lot unexplored in this quick look. From voice quality to speaker blowouts to browser tests and beyond, we've got a lot more to learn about the LG G4 and how it relates to the Galaxy S6 and Galaxy S6 Edge, so stay tuned for the full comparison coming soon. But if you want a little sneak peek, after an afternoon with the G4, I'll bet this is one face-off that's gonna be a close one.